Good evening everyone and welcome back to Project Dream. We are here for GTWC round number 2 here at Spa-Francorchamps. 7-kilometer circuit, an iconic track and infamous in the sim racing world. And qualifying will begin very shortly. Drivers had their practice so far, about, 30 minutes? So, as you can see in the timing pages, in terms of practice, Sanyo Alpha in first place at the moment. Let me just, there we go. Well, was first place in Max Meisennoy, last week's race winner, in second. But qualifying begins now, 20 minutes, and we can see the cars start to leave the endurance pits. It's an iconic circuit, Spa-Francorchamps, and these drivers will have to tackle it. Most of these drivers know exactly how the track goes. It's such a well-known layout that it's going to be very close margins to see who comes out on top. It is Sanyo Alpha that leaves the pits first, followed up by his teammate of Ultimate Racing, Max Meisennoy. Then, I said of course I like to drop frames sometimes, but it's fine for now. No stress, this is there. How are we doing? How are we doing, everyone? Oh, I think immediately there's a spin at the exit of the Le Com, and well, that is one risky no van. But he gets going again. No damage done to that car, hopefully. Oh, whoa, what's that? Okay, that's an interesting chain of events. The 296 colliding with the BMW GT3. But meanwhile, let's move on, shall we? So, what can Ultimate Racing do here today? They've been performing very well, at least in the first round of the season, dominating in professional fashion. Both pro drivers. Let's see if anybody else can come even close to that. Next, we do last week's P3 of Baron isn't here today, partly potentially due to the 24 hours of Le Mans happening in another simulator title. And well, regardless, we're going to see how these two drivers do in front of us, or both on the same screen. And Sanyo Alpha starts his first flying lap of qualifying. Heading down to the source, it's a hairpin and paramount that you get the best exits possible, as it's basically one singular long straight up through Eau Rouge and up into the Camel Straight. Sanyo Alpha, let's go on board to see how he takes Eau Rouge. Very clean. Now heading down to Le Com, pick your braking zone and try to make a perfect line through here. These drivers know exactly what they're doing. And he goes into the first, actually one out of many overtaking zones around this iconic racetrack. Let's see who currently has the purple sector 1. All yellow so far. That's interesting to see. But I don't really know why. Regardless, we do have Andres Serrani on the hard compound tyre. So is Lindenthal in P9 at the moment, at least on the leaderboard. Not on the times alone. But Sanyo Alpha now heading into the Fania chicane. And in towards Sector 3. Early times here, 20 minutes for every single one of the drivers to set their best lap. But the benchmark, who can do it? Into the bus stop chicane, extremely slow, one of the slowest corners on this racetrack. best exit as you possibly can. Alpha will set the benchmark, and it will be a 216.667. What can Maisunov do? Maisunov comes across the line, goes in P2 with a 217.586. Next one will be... who will it be? It was Kevin T. Jr. in the 56 BMW going up into P3 with a 21. And then Luna Park across the line with... who hasn't set a lap time yet. I think he's on his out lap. Andres Saranyi up into P3 with a 218 dead. And then Pavel Lindenthal goes up into P4 in the Mercedes, number 74, 219. George Given up into P6. The next one to come across the line will be number 14 of who's number 14? Oh, number 14 in the pits. Number 10 now of 10th place, I mean, Rizky Novan. We saw him collide on the outlap with a Ferrari 296 who's right behind him. And then the 798 of Farhan Rizky Novan comes across the line to set a lap time that's good enough for P3. A 217.852. Well done to him. But these lap times show how quick Alpha is at the moment. 216.667. He's 9/10 quicker than his teammate, and that is a stonking lap time to start us off in this qualifying venture. Arsene Sawar comes to start his first flying lap. P12 Dustin Dooley also will start his lap. He hasn't set a qualifying time just yet. Right behind him is Sanyo Alpha. Is he improving? What can he do? The Ultimate Racing car will be followed up by closely his teammate. Sanyo Alpha across the line goes a 10th quicker, a 216.524. Max Maisunov, can he improve even further? It's a 217.268, 7/10 away from his teammate at the moment. Next on P6 will be Kevin T. Jr., who... there's a Porsche spinning around right behind him. That is P... no, was it P9? I couldn't tell. But Kevin T. Jr. coming across the line with 220.859 in P6. And we saw Andres Sarandi climb up the leaderboard. Goes up into P3 with 217.723. We still need to see if any other drivers who are currently setting laps at the moment. Where is Brandon Bartrop? Bartrop setting his... on his outlap at the moment. George Given across the line for the Porsche goes 4/10 quicker, but it's not enough to gain a position, stays in P7. And then P4 Farhan Rizky Novan. It's a personal best sectors 1 and 2. Two green sectors, needs at least 1/10 to beat out Andres Sarandi, the amateur driver, in P4 at the moment. But he's gone deep into the bus stop chicane, and that's going to hamper his lap time quite a fair bit. Can he improve? No, he's peeled off to the side, and he's done for this qualifying lap attempt. Then that was Christian Signoretta up into P5 in the amateur car, 195. Very good effort for the 296. And we see Carlos Cantos start his first flying... no, he goes across the line to go up into P7, my bad. Fastest sector 2, Sanyo Alpha. He's already so quick. He's the only man in the 216s at the moment. And let's see where Arshan Sawar will set his first lap time. Goes up into P8 at 220.671. Alpha heading down into the final corner for Ultimate Racing. It's a personal best sector 2, but it's slower in sector 1 than his previous lap attempt. Well, we'll come across the line now, and he goes 3/10 quicker, a 216.223. That extends his gap to 1 second to second place. What an incredible effort. A 216.624. Max Maisunov getting closer to his teammate, 4 attempts away now. And the gap is closing down. P9, Kennedy Jr. comes across the line and he improves by 0.2 of a second. Not enough to gain the position, however. Then several cars coming across the line. There's one improve. Saranye coming across the line. Stays in P3 at the moment. And George Given finishing his next lap, but he is down on his lap time. So don't expect too much of an improvement on this particular attempt. Given coming across the line. And he's marginally slower than his previous best lap time. P15, Brandon Bartrop. Hasn't set a lap time just yet. 2 personal best sectors. And Bartrop across the line, and he goes up into P14. No, he's starting it now. Something must have happened in the last lap. Rizky Novan starts his next flying lap now. Right behind him is Christian Signoretta. What can Signoretta do? He goes faster, but it's not enough to get ahead of Rizky Novan. Carlos Contos in the Cus 911 Porsche. Samuel Alpha, the fastest sector 2 again. Carlos Contos can't improve on his lap time. The blue 296, starting his first lap, I believe. Fuchs across the line, 221 at the moment in P10. P8, Arsh San Sawar goes up into P6. His lap times are coming in thick and fast, mind you. And Samuel Alpha is looking to go into the 215s rather than stay in the 216s. And Alpha across the line, he gets into the 216 dead. Almost 2 times quicker than his previous best lap time. And then P7, Dustin Dooley goes up into. Well done. Good effort for the sole McLaren on the grid here today. Kevin T. Jr. Also best lap times currently in P10 with 220.859. He goes and improves by 1 second and 7 tenths. Up into 7th place, a 219 dead is what he deserves at the moment. Pavel Lindenthal now. He'll want to propel himself onto the top 7 maybe. And he'll start his next flying lap. Given, followed up by his teammate Bartrop. And Given across the line, stays in P11, will start his next lap time. Bartrop follows quite closely behind, a 222.512 is his best lap time at the moment. And they're looking to work together a little bit. Rizky Novan coming across the line, goes from P4 up into P3. Drops Andres Saranye off his porch. Indy Sunset for the blue 296. Hasn't set a lap time so far in qualifying, so will several other drivers. And Indy Sunset up into P6, that's a good effort, a 218.954. Max Meisenov coming across the line. Can he improve? No, he still starts his next lap time. Samuel Alpha, 6 tenths ahead of his teammate Max Meisenov. Last week's race winner, looking and probably wanting to get closer to provisional pole position at the moment. Dustin Dooley in the McLaren, 2 personal best sectors, goes from P9 up into P7. Christian Signoretta from P5, stays in P5. Then it's Baron. Is that Baron? It's a P16. No, Alex Sofa in the Audi R8 here today. And Sofa starting his first flying lap of qualifying. 5 minutes left to go. Arsene Sawar comes across the line. stays in P8 to start his next flying lap. Pavel Lindenthal jumping over the last corner at the bus stop chicane. Personal best sectors 1, slowest sector 2, and jumping over the curbs hasn't helped him in the slightest. Stays in P10 for now. By Brandon Bartrop, 2 personal best sectors, has overtaken his teammate George Given during this qualifying lap time and locking up slightly on the front tyres, and he's taken an interesting line through the last stop chicane. Across the line for Brandon Bartrop, improves by 6 tenths, not enough to get ahead of Given, his teammate. Andrew Sarani now. And Sarani in P4 starts his next lap on the hard compound tyre, curiously enough. The pro driver. Starts his next flying lap. Marcel Fuchs currently improving. Needs at least 1.1 seconds to get ahead of Carlos Contos. And he'll come across the line. It's 3 tenths quicker. And Meisenov across the line. Not gaining closer, unfortunately, to see. Signoretta not going quicker. Whoa, what is happening? That's odd. Signoretta marginally slower than his previous best. Alex Sofa now goes up into P11. A good effort for his first flying lap at 2:19.423. Luna Park going quickest with a 2:15.760. He's come out of nowhere. They've come out of nowhere. And that has probably shocked the standard pecking order a little bit more, because Luna Park in qualifying is showing their pace. A 2:15.760. That's the first person into the 2:15s. And then Dustin Dooley, next one to come across the line, starts his next flying lap. P16, Brandon Bartrop. Bartrop will come across the line, followed up by George Given, and Bartrop going off into the runoff and towing back into the pits. Max Meisenov, personal best sector 1, personal best sector 2. Needs to show a good effort if he wants to climb up into the front row here today. 6 tenths is needed. With just over 2 minutes left to go, we're going to start seeing drivers' final lap times where you risk everything to put a best lap time on the board. And into the bus stop chicane from Max Meisenov. Meisenov across the line, and he's gotten a tenth quicker. Kevin T. Jr. come across the line. On a slow lap time, he'll start again. Then it's P14, Marcel Fuchs, who stays in P14. Something's happened in the second sector there. So far, with 2 personal best sectors, this is looking good. His first effort was very decent enough. And Sofa comes across the line. He goes up into P7 at 2:18.489. Meisenov, Risky No Fan, Sarani all in the pits. They won't be making their final qualifying lap attempts. Indy Sunset joining the pack as well. Luna Park across the line. Can they go quicker? No. They start again. Sanyo Alpha comes into the pits. And Arsene Sawar goes up into P7, improving by 3 tenths. Gets ahead of Alex Sofa. Pavel Lindenthal slow across the line. And will he start again? Currently in P12. Dustin Dooley, he goes again, perhaps. with 39 seconds off on the clock. Next one will be George Given, who, or Luna Park, setting the fastest Sector 1. My goodness me. Given through the final corners for the 83 Porsche across the line, and he stays in P15. Clementi Jr. will be the next one. A bit further back in Sector 2, you can see on the track map there. Alex Sofa not improving, and right behind him is Christian Signoretto, who is improving in Sector 1. Luna Park, everyone's going to be watching them. Sanyo Alpha, Max Meisenov, Risky Novan Serrani not making final efforts in qualifying. They're done. How's Lindenthal doing? Lindenthal still not showing up on the bottom there. Dustin Dooley making a mistake in the background at No Name Corner. Luna Park, fastest Sector 2. But we will see Kevin T. Jr. come across line to finish his lap. But it's not enough to gain up a position. Then Alex Sofa. Alex Sofa across the line, goes up into P7 ahead of Arsene Sawar. Then Christian Signoretto across the line, stays in P6. Luna Park. It's fastest sectors 1 and 2, and he goes even quicker in the third sector. It's 3.5 tenths quicker than his previous best lap time, and he expands that gap for provisional pole position by 6 tenths of a second. An almighty performance here today in qualifying. Then there'll be Pavel Lindenthal, followed up by Dustin Dooley. Lindenthal is done. Today, what can Dustin Dooley do? We saw his mistake at No Name Corner, but he still goes up into P9. Well done to him. Final efforts for Christian Ardian-Sayer in the light blue Audi R8. And they're done. And that's his qualifying pretty much over. As George Given comes across the line, probably the final car. Yep, it is. And so, it is Luna Park on pole position, followed up by Sanyo Alpha in the front row, Max Meisenov in third, Risky Novan in fourth, Serrani in fifth, Christian Signoretto in sixth, Alex Sofa in seventh, Arsene Sawar makes up the top 8. Drivers now in this downtime will be waiting until the race will begin. So drivers actually check for a moment, but qualifying is indeed over. How are we feeling about this race? People in the stream chat. Who are your favourites here today? Saw some support for FPR in the chat, and of course support for Given and his team. That's odd. think this will be peak. I'm the 707 Ferrari. Hopefully I can recover from last. All good. I think this will be peak racing. Not sure if it's just me, but quiet on stream. Okay, fine. Let me just turn myself up a little bit. Okay, so we can do that. Drop that down. Apologies if there were any issues. Turn myself up a bit. There you go. Should be able to hear myself a bit better than usual. And we can get ready. Mic check. Okay, let's go. Right, I need to tow back into the pits. I can't tow back into the pits yet, so ignore the yeah. I'll tow back into the pits in a short moment. I can't yet, but drivers making their way out onto the grid. And Luna Park's been disconnected from the server. 3 minutes is the downtime before we get ready for racing. And Luna Park back into the server, so they'll be able to get ready to start racing. Don't make it last night. Yes, I know. I'll need to tow back into the pits immediately once this formation lap starts going. Don't want to have a repeat of what happened last time, to say the least. But regardless, yep, we're getting ready to go. The race is just over an hour in length. "21 cars out on track." Some drivers didn't do a lap time qualifying. In particular, I believe it was Rizky Bidhama, Zvjetkovic, Ollie, and Dominic Marino. Those four drivers, I mean, haven't set a lap time in qualifying just yet. I mean, they haven't actually. So they'll be starting from last. They'll be looking to climb up the grid. The start-finish line is what you see there. So it's not the Grand Prix start-finish, it's the endurance start-finish. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't really know, actually, because qualifying was a start-finish in for Grand Prix. I'm lying. I know what I'm talking about. 40 seconds before we get ready for the start of this race. Luna Park will be looking to enforce his pole position and stay in the race lead after lap 1. They'll have to look behind him and see that Samuel Alpha and Max Meisennoy for Ultimate Racing will be working together, maybe, to try to get past Luna Park. And getting ready to go now. Right. Am I back in the pits? I think I'm back in the pits. Okay, I'm just triple checking. But I think I am back in the pits. So we can get ready for the start of qualifying here. The start of qualifying, start of the race here. Luna Park will be at the back of this safety car. Samuel Alpha in second place, Max Meisennoy in third. As the last car makes his way from the grid box. Drivers weaving to try to get a semblance of heat into their tyres. Luna Park driving for Le Samurai Motorsport, followed by 2 Ultimate Racing cars and Farhan Rizky Novan driving for Frontline ID. Andres Serrani in the Huracan for Flying Pigs Racing. Signoretta S2 Racing in the 296. So far for ESP Tech. Okay. Let's have a bit of fun watching this, shall we? Dominic Marino trying to rapidly catch back up for driving for Penguin Racing. Oh, he's flying. Oh, he's flying. Oh, okay, never mind. Never mind. He must have disconnected. But that was funny to see. And now, drivers starting to form up at Blanchimont. They're getting ready to start just over an hour of racing. Dominic Marino joining back into the session. He's stuck into the pits, however. Number 19, Ollie, is quite a fair bit behind if you see on the track map. He's catching up now. It'll be the 168, followed up by the 11. Side by side. Alpha. Luna Park will have the inside line heading into the... Oh, there's a bit of an early acceleration, but it's not go until it's go. Apparently, it's all a bit of a muck up here at the start of this race, and it's crazy start. But Luna Park loses the position to Sanyo Alpha after the pit straight, and Christian Signoretta goes from 5th up into 2nd place for now, and they'll go side by side heading through the endurance pit lane, and Christian Signoretta just getting and edging further ahead of Luna Park. Luna Park losing whole position just like that. Risky Novan getting ahead of Max Meisenhoff, who's dropped back from 3rd place down to 5th. Alex Sofa in 6th place. Oh, in the background, that was Sunset into the wall. Meanwhile, the front, Luna Park going down the inside. Christian Signoretta in the background. There's a car tumbling. And what is that? Who's that? That is a 296 of, I believe, Marcel Fuchs. No, it's not Marcel Fuchs. The other 296 of Ollie, who's had a major incident there. And that is a crazy start to this race. In the background, we saw cars flipping over and everything. But it's still Senyo Alpha in 1st place. Luna Park in 2nd. Christian Signoretta under pressure from Max Meisenhoff in 3rd. And Max Meisenhoff not waiting for an opportunity to overtake into the Fania chicane. It is Christian Signoretta going defensive against the BMW. Still stays onto the podium for now. It's only been just over a minute of racing. And Alex Sofa right behind in the Audi R8, waiting for an opportunity to arise just up ahead. This battle will allow him to get closer to this 3-car battle involving Luna Park as well. Christian Signoretta needs to look at front and back here. Sanyo Alpha also there as well. Max Meisenhoff into Blanchimont, backs out from Christian Signoretta slightly. We start the 2nd lap with Sanyo Alpha getting ahead of Luna Park after the first pit straight. And Christian Cineretta gaining up several places to be ahead of Max Meisenov. Alex Sofa getting a decent start as well. Meisenov looking for a move into turn 1 perhaps, but backing out of it. I believe we might be on the slowdown here. Yes, we are. We're in safety car mode. We're in safety car mode. So everyone's now under safety car due to the incident happening in the Kemmel Strait. Rizky Buditama joining back into the lobby was disconnected. Ollie retiring, Zvietkovic in 18th, also in the pit. In the sunset, joining back after having that collision up the hill at Radion, but it's, yeah, they're doing fine, perhaps. Everybody doing just fine. Weather looked to be... Oh, whoa, what the... Okay, that was odd. Sorry if you got blinded by the sun there, but we are back for normal coloration. So we got Farhan Rizky Novan trying to catch back up to the back of the pack. Last place of Rizky Buditama is a lap down, so he's currently in 21st place, although he's stuck in the middle of all the cars that have lapped him so far. So he might want to get a call that may allow him to get past, but we'll see how the safety car procedures work here. P13, Rizky Novan. Ardian Shire in 14th. George Given and Marcel Fuchs also in the pack as well, trying to catch back up during this safety car. In the sunset, into the pits. An immediate safety car here. We do see a driver coming into the pit. I saw, because, well, Christian Cinoretta has dropped down the pack significantly here, and he's trying to get his way back up into P6, but he's in the gravel, surprisingly, and he's beached. How incredibly... What an incredibly odd turn of events here. Yeah, Cinoretta will be beached. Well, okay, he's slowly going back up, but that car... He's got a struggle getting out of there. Something odd has happened to Christian Cinoretta. They were fighting for P3, mind you, for the podium at the start of this race, but now he's dropped back into 14th place and will drop down even further as Given and Fuchs get past. How odd. And obviously after the gravel, that car is going to be initially a bit skiddy. And we saw that 19th place of Sviatkovic is allowed to unlap himself. So does Indy Sunset. David Opera down in 18th place, still needs to unlap himself as well. Jeez, this is it's gonna take a little bit of time. Finishing the next lap as that is one, I think that might be Ollie or Marcel Fuchs, who is, no, it's not Marcel Fuchs, but yeah, it is Ollie unlapping himself after getting involved in that lap 1 collision. And he'll have the opportunity to drive past all of them. Let me just turn the game volume down a little bit. I see what you mean now, at least. Let me just make sure. Let me just do this. Turn this up. Okay, we're back. Modify your volume levels a little bit on your end, guys. Apologies for that. Right. We're still one more lap under the safety car as David Opera catches back. Oh, no, he's broken a bit too late. A bit hot onto the brake pedal, and he's gotten deep at... Oh, dear. Well, he's on track at least, and he'll get going again. Arsene Sawar into the pit lane. There is one stop needed, and he might be taking this opportunity, although he will be in last place starting and in danger of the cars in front of him. This might be an inspired decision, to say the least. That's all he has damage. Nope. "51 minutes left to go." Indy Sunsets, it's the fastest lap of this race because, well, they're not in the safety car queue at the moment. Slowly catching back up to the rest of the pack. Pavlis Sviatkovic needs to unlap himself one more time as well. But will he have the fortune of having that opportunity anyway? Because we've been under the safety car for what I would like to say about 4 laps now. Oh, and that is Christian Signoretta back into the gravel again. Signoretta is not enjoying himself under this safety car at the moment. And what is that? That's the blue Mercedes trying to unlap himself of David Oprea as well. Let's see how they navigate through this. And Opera will have the opportunity to unlap himself again. We go again for one more lap under the safety car. Indy Sunset still behind Sviatokovic. Buditama exits out of the pits, but he is 4 laps down due to these disconnects that he's been unfortunately having. He's going to hate the service pretty much at this point. Drivers still wanting to keep heating those tyres on the Camel Straight. Very Serrani at the moment. That was a bug with the... Okay. So much chaos is happening under the safety car, and I love it. That was a chatter. Interesting. There is quite a fair bit of chaos because some cars are trying to unlap themselves, some drivers are making mistakes under the safety car. So it's an interesting chain of events here, and cars still wanting to unlap themselves, of course. So Indy Sunset joins back into the pack, and now he's overtaken Sviatokovic here. I do wonder on how many times we're going to be lapping during the safety car, because we've now been officially under the safety car for the past 10 minutes or so. And the safety car is peeling away here. And it does look like we're going to be restarting. It will be Sanyo Alpha in first place, followed by Luna Park, and he gets restarted underway with 47 minutes left to go. Comes across the line now, and Luna Park immediately on the offensive. Sanyo Alpha defensive into La Source. Luna Park braking on the outside into turn 1. La Source, and they both exit basically on equal footing. Who will concede their position heading into Eau Rouge and Radion? Between the Porsche and BMW, Luna Park takes the lead away from Sanyo Alpha. Alpha cutting across the second part of Radion onto the Camel Straight. Slipstream now for the BMW. Heading into Le Comte, and Alpha on the inside, Luna Park on the outside, into Le Comte, and Luna Park hangs around to defend first place from Sanyo Alpha. Christian Signoretta still stays in third place, and Max Meisenov taking a different line around the outside, and he takes third place away from Christian Signoretta. Kevin T Jr. now looking ahead to see if White's 296 just ready for the taking. Luna Park first, Sanyo Alpha in second. Max Meisenov now makes it a Ultimate Racing 2 and 3. Signoretta in fourth place. Kevin T Jr. might be under pressure from Andres Serrani, now heading through Pouon. And Serrani also under pressure from Carlos Contos, heading into the Fania chicane. Serrani going into the middle of the racetrack, slightly more defensive than usual. You usually would, and Carlos Contos trying to perhaps go for a move around the outside. No. The Huracan shuts the door. Serrani, who was looking to attack, is now being hunted. Oh no, never mind. Carlos Contos skateboarding over the curb and onto the gravel, dropping back even further. Let's go towards the back of the pack because we see there's a lot of battling happening as... Oh god, what is this? What is happening here? Brandon Bartrop versus a lapped car, I think that is, actually. I'm not too sure. That's a Huracan there. Marcel Fuchs trying to overtake George Given. Alex Sova as well, trying to get past Dustin Dooley. Several battles happening heading into the next lap after the restart. And Sofa on the inside of Dooley at the source. The Audi R8 going up a position now. The McLaren will fight back heading into Le Combe. Meanwhile, just up ahead, Kevin T Jr. versus Andres Serrani versus Carlos Contos. And Contos will be looking to go around the outside because Kevin T Jr. has lost a position out to Serrani while we were looking away. Jr. defending versus Carlos Contos around the outside. Kevin T Jr. concedes the position. But don't think it's done yet. Heading into Bruxelles, it's Junior down the inside of Contos. Contos leaves enough space on the inside, and that was an aggressive move to keep his position in P6. Contos fights back into Jackie X corner, or no name, whatever you want to call it. A bit of contact side to side between the rear fender of the Porsche and the front fender on the BMW heading into Pouan. These guys are going to start getting a bit heated now, heading towards Fanya. Into Fanya Jr. going down the inside versus Contos. This is collision, and the BMW spun round after that aggressive attempt down the inside of the Fanya chicane. Carlos Contos maintains or loses the place to 7th, Risky Novan, but Carlos Contos in 8th place. And we got Alex Sofa ahead of Dustin Dooley. He made an overtake while we weren't looking as well, while we were looking at the battle between Junior and Contos. Luna Park sets the fastest lap ahead of Sanyo Alpha in 2nd place. Max Meisennoy makes an ultimate 2 and 3 as always. Christian Sinoletta in 4th, Serrani in 5th place. And we've got Pavel Lindenthal. I don't think is he in the right position? Pavel Lindenthal is up into 6th place. We haven't seen much of him because he's not being in the racing action just yet. Because Risky Novan is catching up under a second away from Pavel Lindenthal. Alex Sofa at the back of Carlos Contos as well. Let's go and see Marcel Fuchs versus George Given, or Indy Sunset versus Arsene Sawar, because heading into Eau Rouge and Radion, Indy Sunset, you saw the brakes being applied because he didn't want to go for a move through Eau Rouge and Radion. Smart choice, to say the least. It's not the most safe overtake uphill through those two corners. There's Marcel Fuchs versus George Given. Marcel Fuchs on the inside at Le Combe, and it's a simple looking enough move for Marcel Fuchs to go up into 11th place. Indy Sunset still trying to overtake Arsene Sawar, and Sunset a bit misshaped into Bruxelles. Given versus Fuchs. Given hasn't given up just yet. Heading through Pouan now versus the 296. They're 3 seconds away from the top 10, these two cars. And Given, heading into the Fanya chicane, will stick behind the Ferrari for now. Let's go up in towards the top 10 because Carlos Contor's getting closer. So is Farhan, risking no van. 5 tenths away from Pavel Lindenthal as well. Luna Park once again setting the fastest lap here. And there's a bit of a trend of cars. It's Indy Sunset. Tries to look for a move down the inside of Arsene Savoy. There's a bit of perhaps contact at the bus stop chicane. But they both continue without too much damage. That was a brave move down the inside, but was it too brave? Dustin Dooley now, as Carlos Contos losing a position to Alex Sofa. Dooley, a bit of an awkward line over Oruj and Radion, but it's still enough to get the run onto the walls to Porsche. Dooley at Lecombe going down the inside of the Porsche, and it's side by side. Contos fighting back in through Lecombe, and he still keeps it for now. Dustin Dooley still is there. Never mind, it's done. The Porsche still ahead of Dustin Dooley. Indy Sunset trying to overtake Marcel Fuchs. It's 2.296 into Bruxelles. Indy Sunset on the outside. They've already made a move on George Given while we're looking away. And not yet into No Name. Nope. Through for one now. And it's a train of cars for P11. Sunset braking later, and it's front bumper to rear bumper. How close was that in terms of contact? Centimetres apart in that aspect. And that is Arsene Sawar going wide at the exit of the Fania chicane. Oh no, that's Sunset spinning around, and he's made contact with Andres Serranier as well. Not Arsene Sahor, my bad. 2 Hurricanes, my mistake. But yeah, spinning around and Sunset in the gravel. Alex Sofa trying to go down the inside of Risky No Van into the bus stop chicane. It's a brave move, and Risky No Van concedes to places there. Wow. Okay. Indy Sunset into the pits. As Andres Serrani in P4 doing relatively well. In terms of the leading amateur driver, Christian Signoretta is in first place out of the amateur drivers, followed up by Pavel Lindenthal and then Risky No Van. They're doing quite well. To be fair to them, they're keeping up with the pace of the pro drivers. As Indy Sunset, done. They've disconnected from the server. They're done with this race. Given, closing back to Marcel Fuchs. Dustin Dooley disconnecting from the server now. In the McLaren, they were in P10, and that's promoted Marcel Fuchs into the top 10 due to that disconnection. Given. There's a P9. Carlos Contours on the inside of Blanchimont is retired. They towed that back into the pit. Something's happened to Carlos Contours. Alex Sofa into the pit lane. And now George Given and Marcel Fuchs, they're in the top 10 now as well. But yellow flag's been thrown out because of that. And that is one of the... yeah, that's the Audi R8 exiting out of the pits now. This is the closest battle out on track at the moment. 4 tenths splitting the gap between Marcel Fuchs and George Given. Into Lecombe. Not close enough for an overtake just yet. Into Bruxelles, Fuchs going slightly defensive into the corner. Driving in towards Pouon now. Given putting the pressure on the Ferrari. Given going wide. And let's see what happens here. Will this battle develop into something more? Marcel Fuchs and George Given. Oh, Given going out wide in towards the gravel. The gravel pulls you away from the racetrack there. And now in the pursuit of trying to gain and overtake Marcel Fuchs is now just over a second away. And Ardian Shire in the blue Audi R8 will be pushing that car to try to catch back up, driving for a frontline ID. As Given goes into the pits with 32 minutes left to go. Luna Park is pulling away from the rest of the pack here as they lap, was that 15th or 14th place? Arsène Savour, yeah. For Techly Racing. That qualifying pace has translated into race pace. There's not much that the BMWs or Sanyo Alpha Max Meisenhoff can do. Serrani doing relatively well here in the Huracan today. Christian Signoretta 2.5 seconds further back from the car, but Signoretta, the amateur license driver, doing very well to be in P5 ahead of Lindenthal as well. Rizky Novan, P7. Drivers are slowly coming into the pits, mind you. And we do have some Max Meisenhoff support in the chat here today. Doing relatively well. Last week's race winner in P3 at the moment. are we feeling about this race, everybody? We are now just crossed 50% of the way done. 30 minutes left to go. Brandon Bartrop, after a lap later than his teammates, comes into the pits in the 6-9 car. The closest battle might be Marcel Fuchs versus Ardian Shire as well, 10 minutes we had safety car. Yeah, that's true. No, that's racing. Yep, that's fair. Fuchs on his, let's see, last lap was 2 seconds slower than Ardian Shire. Marcel Fuchs struggling here. 2 seconds slightly off, no, 1.2 seconds off the pace. And that is the lapped car of, no, it's not Biddy Harmer. It's Kevin T. Jr. in 15th place, who was on the pace, mind you, to stay in the top 5, but somehow he's made his way and he's lapped at the moment. But yeah, that's interesting. Ardian Shire, though, showing their pace. Marcel Fuchs going slightly wide at the exit of the corner, and well, might just be a moment of time that Ardian Shire might see the back, might see the front of Marcel Fuchs. Heading into the bus stop. The concertina effect at its potent through there, but gaining, and gaining so close for Shire, Ardian Shire. Rouge and Radion. And in towards Lecombe, it is the R8 down the inside, and a bit of contact between the two cars as the Audi R8 goes deep, but he does get ahead of Marcel Fuchs in the end to go up into P8. Fuchs not giving this up, heading towards Bruxelles. The R8 going defensive around the outside. This is an off-camber corner, Bruxelles. And, well, is there going to be a move here? Fuchs trying to hold it around the outside. Can't do it. Through Pouan, trying to get a run as Luna Park comes into the pit lane for the first time in this race after 34 minutes of the race time have been elapsed. Sanyo Alpha now towards the race lead, his teammate in the pits as well as Luna Park. That promotes Andres Surani up into P2. Alex Sofa trying to overtake George Given. Sofa getting ahead and goes up into the top 10. Pavel Lindenthal also into the pits. Marcel Fuchs trying to defend from a unlapping car and, well, is unsuccessful and subsequently comes into the pits. Sanyo Alpha now alone at the front of the field. Andres Surani now just heading into Lecombe. Park exits out of the pits. Where does he come out? Climb up through the endurance pit lane. And he'll come out in 5th place in pretty comfortable fashion. Ardian Shire a bit waywards away. As Meisenov exits out of the endurance pit lane behind the battling cars up ahead. This is going to hamper his chances of trying to take the race lead away from Luna Park, but Luna Park already had quite a race lead even before this pit cycle. Marcel Fuchs still in the pit lane. And what does Sanyo Alpha do now? He's heading in towards Sector 3. Saw both his rivals in the top 3 come into the pits just a lap ago. Alpha will follow his rivals into the pit lane a lap later. This is going to be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison to both Luna Park and his teammate. Luna Park is now in Sector 3, heading into Blanchimont. Alpha now is making his way out of the pits in the endurance layout. Hold on a second. Sanyo Alpha might be making his way into towards the race lead. Ali's on track. Andres Serrani still hasn't pitted yet. He takes the lead on the road. Nope, Sanyo Alpha now comes into the pits. That's it. Oh, it's an extremely long pit lane, my bad. So, Luna Park heading in towards the pit straight into La Source. Max Meisenov starts his next lap now. Alpha now gets passed by Luna Park. Exits out of the pit box now, but compared to Max Meisenov, who just exits out of La Source, where does Alpha come out of the endurance pit lane? There he goes. And compared to his teammate, who's heading through Rouge and Radion, Sanyo Alpha still keeps the race lead. Now there's a car in between them, Ardian Shire. Let's have a look at the interval here. The gap between Sanyo Alpha to Luna Park is 11.7 seconds. Ardian Shire, who's in between these two cars, is a second away from Sanyo Alpha. Both Ardian Shire and I believe that is Kevin T Jr. in a ultimate sandwich. Brandon Bartrop versus Marcel Fuchs. This is for P10 here. And Marcel Fuchs struggling even further on the last lap. How fast was he? Last lap. He just came out of the pits, Marcel Fuchs. So, cold tyres. Oh well, just standing around makes them cold. Bartrop pushing. Andres Serrani finally makes a stop that promotes Signoretta up into the race lead, who hasn't pitted yet. Risky Novan also hasn't pitted. These three drivers in the top 3 still need to come into the pits. Risky Novan continues for one more. Luna Park, when all the pit cycle is completed, is your race leader. And Sanyo Alpha, oh, that was Luna Park going onto the grass slightly there. How far away is Luna Park from, no, Sanyo Alpha from Luna Park? 12.5 seconds now. The gap is growing here. The fight for P10 still occurring. As Luna Park very quickly overtakes Risky Novan. Does Risky Novan defend this? No. There's not much point in trying to defend a position that you know that you're going to lose in the pit cycle. So lets him go. Bartrop still under a second away from Marcel Fuchs. But it's not close enough just yet. Andres Serrani coming out of the pit lane, the endurance pit lane, to be in P9 behind George Given, Alex Sofa. Here, Alex Sofa 26 seconds away from Max Meisenhoff. Speaking of Meisenhoff, 6 tenths away from an unpitted Ardian Shire. Kevin T Jr. disconnecting from the server. That means he's done for this race. It was looking good, mind you. It was in top 5 at the start of it, but an incident occurring. And Meisenhoff choosing to be patient behind the light blue Audi R8. Driven by Ardian Shire, representing Frontline ID. And Meisenhoff will not want to be hampered for a potential fight with his teammate. Here, heading into the bus stop chicane, and he does go for a move down the inside, very hot onto the brakes. But it is done. Oh, that is a Ferrari facing the wrong direction there. Who was that? It is Ollie in the 296, who was facing the wrong direction. Serrani and Given going side by side through Blanchimont. Serrani successfully makes the overtake after pitting. Now 9 seconds awaits him and Alex Sofa. Now 10 seconds, okay. Signoretta will have to pit sometime soon, and he'll preferably not want to be stuck behind lap traffic while waiting to do his pit stop. What does Signoretta choose to do? And where will he come out? He might come out in no man's land, actually, between Christian Ardian Shire and Alex Sofa. The gap between those two cars is 24 seconds. Quite a mighty gap, to be fair. And if he does so, it wouldn't be a bad place to pit in. There are much worse places to come out onto the track at. Christian Signoretta continues on for one more. Under a second is Brandon Bartrop. Now from Marcel Fuchs. Fuchs is struggling a little bit here. And it looks like Bartrop might be setting up a move. Heading in towards the bus stop chicane. Slipstream now. A bit of a lift off mid-corner to try to not get his car into the gravel under dirty air. But now... Oh. 15 minutes left to go. 2/3. No. Not 2/3. A quarter of this race left to go. When does Christian Signoretta choose to come into the pits? The gap now 20 seconds from Luna Park. That won't be enough to solidify his race lead. At least on the on road at the moment. Signoretta now finally comes into the pits. Sanyo Alpha catching up to Risky Novan. It's the two BMW M4 GT3s and Risky Novan exiting out of the bus stop was a bit slow, and it looks like Sanyo Alpha might be looking for a move into the source down the inside with 14 minutes left to go, and it's a simple enough move for Sanyo Alpha. Christian Signoretta into the pits, but where does he come out? Max Meisenov will overtake, obviously. But what about Ardien Sire? And Alex Sofa, who's making his way into the bus stop as well. Signoretta still in the pits. Ardien Shire getting ahead of Signoretta. Signoretta it has exited out of his pit box now. Alex Sofa senses an opportunity to try to gain a place over Christian Signoretta, but Signoretta out of the endurance pits, and he stays ahead of Alex Sofa. Sofa now has a bit of a job to do to try to get ahead of Signoretta now. The gap is 7 seconds. Just over 12 minutes left to go, and it's been Luna Park's race to lose. They've been absolutely dominant, driving for Le Samurai Motorsport. 6.5 seconds ahead of Sanyo Alpha. Although they did qualify first last race, they weren't able to take part, so we never got to see how their race pace was, but obviously we're seeing that they could be in title contention just due to this pace around here, Spa-Francorchamps, which is, if not, the most used track in sim racing, mind you. It's been a domineering performance here today, with just over 11 minutes left to go. Brandon Bartrop has dropped back from Marcel Fuchs. And, well, wants to close up to him because it is the top 10. The top 10 result will always be very, very good. Yep. By the way, we haven't talked much about Risky Novan. I don't know if they still need to come into the pits, but they're currently in 3rd place. I don't remember them being up here, unless he's done a magnificent strategy. He probably does still need to come into the pits, however. Alex Sofa is catching up to Christian Signoretta. The gap went down from 6 seconds down to 4.7. 10 minutes left to go. That is enough time for Sofa to catch up to Signoretta. Signoretta, though, well, catching up is one thing, overtaking is quite literally another. Bartrop versus Fuchs. The gap's gone down to under a second again. Max Bisonov, under a second away from Risky Novan. 9 minutes. Into the source, Bisonov catches up. And through Origin Radion, it looks like Risky Novan was a bit more slower through the line there, and it's a simple move to try to get ahead for Max Bisonov. Already making the overtake finish before Lecombe came. And it's Max Bisonov up into P3. Oh, that is a car off the track. Oh, I believe that is not Kevin T Jr. Trying to figure out who it was. Kevin T Jr. Meanwhile, trying to go and overtake a few cars here and there. Despite being a few laps down, mind you. Sanyo Alpha. Oh no. Sanyo Alpha might be out of this race. Something's happened to Alpha here. And he's dropped from P2 down to P5. And he's slow. Sanyo Alpha slow. And that's him done for this race. Something extremely unfortunate has happened. I wish I could go into the replay and figure out what exactly did. But that is Alpha out of the podium. That is heartbreaking with just over 7 minutes to go for the driver. And now it's an all-out battle for the rest of the podium places. What can... But it does look like Risky Novan might be able to stay in P3 if he stays out, of course. But yeah, wow. Sanyo Alpha slow. I do wonder what's happened to that car because visually it doesn't look like it's damaged, at least on the screen. And he is trying to get out of the way out of the fast moving cars there. Alex Sofa. The gap's gone down to just 3.1 seconds versus Christian Signoletta. Alpha making his way into the pits. This is extremely odd here. Doesn't look like there's any visual damage. He's got enough fuel to come into the pits. Unless the fuel was so critical that he left it way too late. But those answers might be answered after this race from Sanyo Alpha. But how odd is this? Over 5 minutes. And Luna Park is now unchallenged. 16 seconds is the gap between him or them, and Max Bisonov, my bad. Alex Sofa keep an eye on him. The gap's gone to under 3 seconds. He's, well, the reason why I keep looking at him, because he's a pro licensed driver versus Christian Loretta, an amateur driver. And the amateur drivers have been doing very well here today. I have to say amateur license, because they're not amateur drivers. They're quick by themselves as well, to be fair. Gap going down to 2.4, 2.5. Steering damage. So, just been given some information on what happened to Sanyo Alpha. Steering damage for the M4. Sanyo Alpha coming back out of the pit lane after repairing his car, but he's going to be ruining this. Steering damage. So, not visible, but something happened there. And Luna Park will be starting their penultimate lap. Not the final lap, the penultimate lap. So, it's been, 18 seconds now is the gap. The gap keeps growing between first and second place. Wow. Does Sofa have enough time? 1.9 seconds. Luna Park flexing their pace. Fastest lap. Oh, Risky Novan is facing the wrong direction. Risky Novan facing the wrong direction. Can Tristan Ardian Shire take advantage? No. There's quite a fair bit of a gap that Risky Novan can get away with it. But yeah, that was probably a scary moment for Risky Novan. Perhaps thinking that maybe that mistake might cause him to lose a podium. Not yet. It hasn't happened, so that's fine. A minute and a half left to go, and Luna Park is in Puon. So this won't be the final lap if he sticks to his pace at the moment. Let's see. I mean, in the top 10. It's been a fair race. First 10 minutes under the safety car after a chaotic lap 1, which during the formation lap, especially during the start, was interesting to see. Luna Park losing the first place initially, but taking that position away, back from Sanyo Alpha. And since then, it's been a dominating performance, extending their gap to 19.3 seconds now. And oh, that Luna Park, that must be a glitch. There's no way he's drifting through the bus stop chicane. But Luna Park starting their final lap of this race with 25 seconds left to go. And he's got a few lap cars ahead of him. And Luna Park will be very much not wanting to cause an incident on his final lap of racing. And he's going to be quite smartly backing out of a potential fight between lapped cars. He's got quite the puffer here to Max Meisenloh, so there's no reason to try to go for a move, a risky move. Oh, Luna Park down the inside. Christian Signoretta has closed up to RDN Shire to 0.5 of a second. The LDR rate is slow off the exit, heading into La Source. There could be a potential battle here for position for P4. RDN Shire turning in quite early compared to Signoretta, climbing up in towards the source, not the source, Eau Rouge and Radion, and it will be Signoretta trying to go down the inside, which will turn to the outside of Eau Rouge and Radion. They're going side by side between two cars. Oh, that was dangerous, and that could have ended a lot worse than it has. RDN Shire cutting across Radion there. Wow. As Alex Sofa will go for the move on... Alex Sofa going for the move ahead of RDN Shire. But as mentioned, dominating performance. Driving for Le Samurai Motorsport is Luna Park, the number 168 Porsche. Nobody ever since halfway through this race has been able to catch up to them. Makes his way through the final trip of Spa-Francorchamps, the 7-kilometer circuit, one of the more famous circuits in sim racing. And it will be Luna Park, redemption after Monza. He takes the win here at Spa-Francorchamps. Well done to Luna Park. As Max Meisenloh, it's not a win, but it is P2 in expense of his teammate. Meisenloh in P2, and then Rizky Novan, who's going side by side with Sanyo Alpha. Sanyo Alpha lapped, mind you, so this isn't for position. Rizky Novan will come across the line in P3. And that is your podium. So well done to the drivers that finished this race. Signoretta finishes P4, Alex Sofa in P5, RDN Shire in P6. And that will be it for the race. The leaderboard's all mixed up, so I can't even tell who finished where anymore. But regardless, well done to everybody. An interesting race for sure. So, that will be it. Thank you very much for watching the race here today. And that'll be it for us here at JCR Broadcasting. The GTWC race round 2. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all next time for round 3. Have a good rest of your day.